Questions or anything? We're supposed to have a little Q&A. If anyone has any questions for Sean, he was on Young and the Restless for many years. What are your other credits? Ford versus Ferrari. Some other cool things he's been in. All American, one of my favorite shows. So, what's that? And we won't mention that. But does anyone have any
Hi guys,
questions or anything for Sean? Or?
Yeah, are you guys all okay in LA?
What's that?
Are you all okay?
Yeah, we're okay. We're okay. It's the fire hit just north of me, and so completely wiped the town out. So it's I wish it was under better circumstances. I was here, but it was good to get away from that, all the smoke and everything. But everybody's gonna recover. It's a tough city. I've lived there 24 years, so I'm proud to say that, call it my home. So we'll get through it. It's been rough for a lot of people,
But the movie was good.
But the movie was good. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to come support the movie. It's I'm proud of getting to work with Rory and everybody else here, and see people from the crew here, and so it's happy to come and represent. And Laurinburg's got a lot of bugs. I don't know if you ever spent time down there, but it's summertime, it's full of gnats.
Some rough filming. Question?
Yeah,
Sorry.
actually, this is now my 7th time I've watched this. But,
It's my wife.
actually, I was just wondering when I was watching, how did you guys film the scene on the four-wheeler?
How do we do it?
How we film that?
Well, we mounted a camera on the four-wheeler. We actually mounted the Alexa camera, and John, that was the thing too. Johnny really was driving the four-wheeler, and somebody asked yesterday, were they really swimming through that lake? And the answer is yes. That's called low-budget filmmaking. And I think Johnny did ask if there was a stunt double, and I said, yeah, his name's you. So get in the water, and but we made it work. Did you have a question?
I was going to ask what inspired the plot of the movie.
Well, originally the movie, I was given a script back in 2013. It was called Something Different. And I had just gotten a manager. I had done mostly unscripted work, and I had done all unscripted work. And he had asked me what were some of my dreams or goals. And I said I really wanted to make a scripted movie. He said he had a script that was optioned. But this was like a huge, blockbuster type script. And the premise was the same, about a kid going through a fake rehab that turned out to be the actual rehab. But he was it was almost like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. He was becoming like an action hero and had to do all these things, and there was all kinds of explosions and things. So it would have cost about $20 million at least, and the movie never happened. Different actors were attached, and it just kind of went away like a lot of things do. But we were filming something in Laurinburg during COVID, and Laurinburg's a town in North Carolina. And the cinematographer said, man, this town is so cool, we should shoot a movie here. And I was like, yeah, definitely, someday. And he said, well, we should do that other movie, and instead you should just write everything that we could use here. I was like, that's a great idea. So I rewrote the script and just incorporated everything I thought we could get for free. So then it became like a $500,000 movie. And that was in January of 2021. December 2020, somewhere in there, and we were filming by June of that year. That's how quickly it came together. So that's how it went down. And I liked my favorite genre of movie. I love thrillers, and I love coming of age. And I thought this combined both of them, where the character goes on a journey and learns about himself, but there's also some thrills. And I like twists too. I love the movie The Game. So this is sort of like a poor man's version of that. Or yes.
What was the story behind the airplanes in one of the scenes?
Yeah, well that was just a cool location we could get for free. And we had a whole explanation that was filmed where they explain why they were there. And it was just kind of slow down the momentum of the chase. And she just says it was a shortcut. And it was an airplane graveyard that they let us film at. So I was like, this is just a different location to film in, and looks interesting, makes it look like it was more expensive of a movie than it actually was. There's a lot of implied action in the film, but not actual action. Like they're riding on a four-wheeler, they're kind of he's running a lot, but they're not like fighting necessarily. So we tried to give that implied feeling for the amount of money that we had. Yes?
How did you guys get to jail?
That's a good question too. Yeah, so that's a real prison that they're in, that Sean filmed in, and it was condemned. And when we showed up, it was just like some sort of animal sanctuary. It was just covered in like goat feces. I mean, and we had to we had to hire a whole crew just to clean it out, and we probably got like black lung from filming in there or something. But they said it was clean, but we were in there, and one thing I noticed that was just really cool. Mostly I'd worked in unscripted, and working with actors for me was something new, and it was so cool to work with somebody like Sean, who was like a real actor and just brought so much to the role. And when we filmed on the day, the scene where he's trying to convince Johnny to do drugs, and like you had that tear come out of your eye, and I was like, yeah, that wasn't in the script, and I said like, wow, where did that come from? And you were like, I don't know, I just felt it. And it's like, I think if you watch the film the second time, it's almost like the real Luther, who you don't know what his backstory is, but he served with Cutter in the military. Maybe he's crying for the Brandon character, what he's putting him through. You just don't know. So I just thought there's like a lot of layers to Sean's performance, and every time I watch the film, and I've seen it way too many times at this point, but I noticed something new about Sean, and you're a great actor, man.
Hey, thanks, Rory.
Yeah, I mean it. And I consider you to be I would consider you one of my best friends since we made the movie, so I appreciate it. Sean trained me for a fight.
Yeah, he fought in Denver, Colorado.
So a little.
I got him ready for
We
it.
saw it.
Yeah. that's a different Q&A, but yes.
How did you choose the cast?
Well, I had worked with Rob Lowe. He was an executive producer on a documentary I did called I Hate Christian Laettner, and we had worked on other things together, and Rob brought Johnny one time for a meeting, and then he and I struck up a conversation. We agreed to have lunch, and he was running late, and he texted me that he was coming from a meeting, and I thought he meant he was coming from like a Hollywood meeting, but what he meant was he was coming from an AA meeting, and he was getting his 1-year chip. And I remember when I first met him, I was like, here's like some famous celebrity's kid, just a rich kid. And then I found all this stuff about him, like, you can't really judge a book by its cover. And he had a lot of depth to him, and we just struck up a friendship. So I kind of wrote it with him in mind, and he was all on board. So then he reached out to Jim Parrick, who plays Cutter, because Jim Parrick is his actual sponsor in AA, and was on the show 911 Lone Star with Rob Lowe. And then Jim Parrick said, you gotta talk to this guy I know, Sean Carrigan. He's very intense. He said, we did a play together, and he almost got into a fist fight afterwards with an audience member. And I'm like, tell me more. So he recommended Sean, and then people just kept recommending each other, and kind of became almost like a little family unit while we're filming, because everybody knew somebody. So, good question. Anyone else? Any other? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
How did he get the zip ties off them?
Yeah, I mean that's just. We didn't show that either. We show him chewing it. We never really filmed him getting the zip ties off, so you just kind of have to go. It wasn't shown. He got them off somehow. Maybe they cut them. Use your imagination there, but.
I technically have two questions. I was going to ask, how long did it take to film? And then the second question was, how big is your cast in regards to your film crew?
It took 19 days to film, and our cast, I think, was like 10 people, and our crew was like maybe like 25 or 30 people. I don't know. We have different crew members. Ashlyn is here, one of my good friends, Ashlyn Berthini. Little thing about Ashlyn. So I had, again, first movie, trying to put all this stuff together. I hired a wardrobe person, and she had just done wardrobe on this movie about Kurt Warner, the football player that starred Zachary Levi. That was like a $40 million movie. And she was like, I need 2 people to do the wardrobe on this film. I'm like, there's literally 10 people in the cast and they're all wearing the same thing, you know? Like Johnny's outfit doesn't change the whole movie. And she's like, no, I need this, I need this. So I was like, all right. And then with like 2 weeks to go, she took another job. She said, I'm going on a different movie, I'm taking another job. So I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh, I just need somebody competent. So Ashlyn's one of the most competent people that I know. And I said, what do you think about doing wardrobe? And she's like, oh, I wear clothes, sure, I could try it. So then she came on board with it. Yes, sir.
I was wanting to know if, like, how did you specifically, like you said, how did you like find the people, like, you know, for your crew?
The crew, well, a lot of them were people I knew from my other productions that are all looking for an opportunity. There's Megan is in the back. Megan did makeup, and she did makeup on the Bike Riders, and she just did a big movie that just filmed here in Charlotte with Sydney Sweeney. And she was another person recommended, and her boyfriend, Matthias, they actually met on the set of Grace Point. We had so somehow he scored her, I don't know, blink twice if you need help, but yeah, they got together, and it's just reaching out to different people. For example, assistant director, I talked to different assistant directors, and a couple of them, close your ears for the kids here, they're like dicks, you know, they're like, oh, we gotta do it this way, and I was like, the assistant director is supposed to like assist me, right? So I reached out to my high school production teacher, film production teacher, and asked him if he wanted to be the assistant director. And he's like, well, I've never done it before. I'm like, well, I'll send you some YouTube videos. And again, I just chose people that I thought were competent and that I liked, and it all came together. And it's, again.
Well, okay, one more question, like,
Yes, sir.
So you said, like, you know, it's because people you worked on, so like, how was like your first production, like where you actually got into this, like?
Well, I started my career at NFL Films, and I started as like a very low-level kind of production assistant, and just started working my way up. I learned how to edit, and that got me a lot more work. And then I worked at NASCAR here in Charlotte. That's why I came to Charlotte. I made a movie about Dale Earnhardt, the race car driver, and you know, just met a lot of people like that. But I did a lot of recreations with actors in my documentary work. So that sort of kind of lit the fire to do more scripted stuff. So.
So, Sean, did you like playing the bad guy?
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah, I liked it because he was you know, he's playing a character. So, you know, the whole, like, I got to play the character, and then the reveal of him playing the character, and I think that was what had to do with, you know, the scene where I got emotional in the jail cell, because you realize the gravity of what you're trying to get this kid to do, and you're hoping that he holds on to it, you know, and then you know, it's that turning point in his life, and it's, you know, it's personal to him as underneath Luther, you know, and so yeah.
So did you really get stuff in your eyes?
No, it's you got emotional. I trust me.
She means the throwing the drugs in your eyes.
That. Yeah. I think that bag of cocaine was a little bit too big, but that's all right.
That wasn't.
I've never seen a bag.
It was a lot. It was a lot. We're not. Well, that's a. She asked how many takes, and when you have a lower budget, you don't get to. The biggest enemy is time. That's really what you're working against. So, you know, on like a Transformers movie or a Marvel movie, like they'll take a week to film like one scene, and they have so many people. So on a film like this, you're just, you know, rushing through it. And we probably filmed it like twice, you know, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, and you know, when Peric approached me about this role, you know, he sent me the script, and I read the script. I was like, man, this is just it's a sick character. You know, you get to play a bad guy through the whole movie, and then you're gonna find out you're not. You're actually trying to help somebody, and like it's just such an arc of a character. That's why, you know, I love this role. It was probably one of my favorite roles that I played, you know, my career. So it's been some good ones. And I played some, you know, I played some fun ones.
He races Christian Bale in Ford versus Ferrari. Yes.
I have a question for Sean. So how did you get
Well, I had to kind of just imagine that, you can't approach a character as being, hey, I'm the bad guy. I had to give this guy a reason for, in his mind, he's got this gang. It's a town that time forgot. They built an interstate, and now no one comes through that town anymore. And he's the only thing that keeps that town pumping. And these people are going to be, losing their life doing drugs anyways. So he might as well make some money and try to run the town and to run people and try to give people something. And in his community that he's created, he's justified. It's everybody that you play a character like that, you got to have the justification for what you're doing. So that was my backstory on him, and then so I created that whole backstory. And then the backstory of that character, creating that backstory. So I was a creative. Yeah. So, anyways.
When you played a doctor on Young and the Restless, you went to med school to prep for that, did you? Yeah, he did. He's very committed. So.
It's like Draper Moray.
So Laurinburg, was that town really like, not, I know Laurinburg.
That town looked like
that section is really like nothing there.
Nothing there.
Well, some stuff's there. I mean, like when he's riding his bike through things, they shut down areas for us. It's a lot of abandoned buildings though, all throughout the Midwest and the South. These small towns, it's really all throughout the United States. They are shutting down. Chains are up. I mean, there's a Starbucks in Laurinburg, but like the local mom and pop places are just abandoned buildings, and they have a kind of a bad crime problem. So they really welcomed us with open arms. That like we're trying to do anything good in there, and but yeah, you see it all throughout in different areas in the U.S. traveling that would happen in some of these towns. So
the people in Laurinburg were so open to having us there. It was like one of the biggest things, and everyone just loved being a part of the movie and helping us and creating basically an environment. Everywhere we went for 19 or 20 days,
yeah,
people were just.
We filmed there
come to the restaurant
many times.
Lori, and they filmed a lot there.
Yeah.
So they love having the production work.
A lot of recreations. Aljamain Sterling's in the film, and he's actually on the UFC pay-per-view tonight,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
Yeah.
So, there's some different little cameos sprinkled in the film. So,
Chris Weidman.
Yeah, Chris Weidman. I texted Andrew McCarthy during the film. He texts me back 1 out of every 10 times. So maybe this will be the time I get to hear from him. So, anybody else? Well, thank you guys for coming. Oh, sorry, one more, Megan.
I was just gonna say, there was something truly special about this movie because our crew and their cast and all of us put so much passion into it. And then like Ashlyn was saying, the town just supporting it. It was truly one of my favorite films I've ever worked on.
Awesome.
And it's just wonderful.
Megan just worked with Sydney Sweeney. I mean, you would think that would be like, oh, she would never talk to me again after that. But she worked with Austin Butler. Intimately. Not that kind of intimately, but putting makeup on his face. So my mom had a lot of questions about that. But, well, anyway, appreciate you guys coming. Thank you so much. Thank you. One more?
Can you tell everyone how do you see this?
Oh yeah. Well, they've just seen it, but one way you could help, if you don't mind, is review the film. The film is coming out January 28th on Amazon and iTunes, and so if you can review it on iTunes, and right now you could review it on Letterboxd or Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb. It really helps. Like even if just a sentence to say that you saw it. Only a good review though. If you thought it sucked, either lie or just keep quiet.
And you can pre-order it on Apple TV.
Yeah, you can pre-order it, so tell your friends if they missed it. So.
Thank you. Can I take a photo?